Welcome to We Tried Being Nice, where we learn the hard way that people will call you difficult the second you stop making yourself uncomfortable for their convenience.
hmm
How are you today?
You know what? I'm doing amazing. I'm not as tired as I was last week, thank goodness. But self-care does not come easy, so it's a work in progress. How you
Right.
doing?
I'm good. I think that's the thing. I've learned I feel like I've learned and grown leaps and bounds this week. Um, I'm in a new job. I'm just like life is happening. Parents are aging.
Yeah.
It's real, right? And so I've learned so much this week. I'm excited. I'm ready to jump into this. Um, so I think this episode is for the people who spent years over explaining, over giving, overextending, only to still be misunderstood. That
Yes.
happens, right?
Oh yeah. We are hopefully recovered or recovering. I'm like to say that I'm recovering. A people pleaser, right? That's who I was and who I kind of am. Definitely leaning
People
towards
first.
definitely a peacekeeper more so now than a people pleaser. I kind of like stepped away from people in general just because I recognized I was being a people pleaser, but now I'm just a peacemaker. So did I really go that far? But I just, finally, I don't want people to treat me better just because I'm nice, because that's not what was happening. I was being nice and nice and nice, hoping for the best, and they weren't treating me any better.
It didn't work. No, no.
So true.
And I think that's the thing too. Like we were talking about this earlier before we got on. We actually like consult each other before. Surprise, surprise. I know it looks like we just wing it, hence we do. But we were talking about this earlier, and we were talking about the energy other people can take from you. And I think that's important, right? And we'll dive into that a little bit deeper. But I want to talk about something head on, right? Because I
Oh,
we've been friends for a really, really long time, right? We talked
oh
about that
yes.
last episode.
Third
Like,
grade.
if anybody knows me, it's you. Like this stupid shit, all of it, right? But there's been really a period in our adulthood that we've not
Mhm.
talked,
Right.
and that's been pretty recent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
it's been
hard.
difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
We kind
not
of
scripted.
no. We did. We kind of fell off, and I mean, I speak for myself, but I'm sure it's true for you too. Like we almost felt each other regardless from so far away because you moved really far. You're a little adventurous little bitch, you.
I know.
And
I'm
and
my
I
little
stayed
bean.
here. And I always felt you and I always thought of you and I always talked about you. And every time I spelled the name Jennifer, I did. I spelled it wrong, but I gave it a conscious effort. So now I spell it correctly just for you.
See, and that's the thing we learn, right? Because people badger it in our heads that we're getting it wrong. And that's what I did to you because you constantly got my name spelled wrong.
But
But
it
no,
didn't
no,
work. You had to leave me for me to figure it out.
it's the trauma. It's the trauma
Yeah.
that like makes it click, right? So
Oh,
no, but I think what's really interesting is how we connected and reconnected, I should say, right? So we've known each other forever, and honestly, I've had your family all over my social media this whole time. So like I've stalked you low key this whole time. So let's not like let's just call it what it is. Let's not front. Um, but we connected via Facebook, and then recently, like very, very recently.
yeah.
And you asked me, did you write this song? And I was
Mhm.
like, yeah, of course. Do you love how awesome this is? And you're like, a bitch, here, look at what I've done. And then you show me all of your amazing work. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I recognize like some of the pain that she's experienced in these lyrics. Like I've experienced this with her, and here she is blossoming into this little, like this woman. Like here she is in front of me, and like so we use this app Suno, right?
Yes.
To right because I will tell you I'm tone deaf. I cannot sing, but I can write the hell out of
Same.
lyrics, and that is like what is like my therapy. I can't afford therapy. I joke about it. I probably can, but I'd rather buy a purse or like these fabulous earrings,
Yes.
whatever, instead of pay for therapy. But like writing music helps me process my emotions.
Mhm.
And part of that was loss, right? And loss of my best friend and loss of
Right.
other things, right? And I knew you were hurting in ways that I couldn't help, but there was just only
Yeah.
so much we could do, right?
I've always
And
been
that app
criticized,
brought us
actually.
back together.
It did. I've actually been criticized almost all my life, and maybe things are different now that social media and AI is involved. But going to college and high school, everyone was like, "You're not a good writer because you write the way you speak." And so I've always like tried to work on that. I'm like, okay, so write like it's a computer. Like I didn't know, I don't
Right.
really fully understand. So I've never considered myself a good writer. English is not my strong suit. Neither is Spanish. No, I'm just kidding. But I, with this
Like a
divorce,
language
actually,
thing.
no language barrier. So within 10 minutes of my ex and I saying we're getting divorced because it was mutual, I wrote a song. I was talking to ChatGPT actually, talking to him like,
Actually,
"Oh,
I use
this
that for therapy.
happened."
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it just my kids hate it. They're like, "Stop doing that. AI is gonna take over one day. Stop." And well, I do
No,
anyways.
it's literally saved my life, I think. Yeah.
Yes. And so if you listen to my first song, I think it's called "It's Okay," and you wouldn't tell that there's a lot of like hurt and emotion in it. It's more like a settling and an understanding of the situation, but you wouldn't guess that it's literally within 10 minutes. And I wrote it within 10 minutes. And that's where it kind of went. So I recognized your song, like you posted it and it had a video and stuff. And I was like, this is Suno. Like, I'm in love. And I was so excited. I'm like, you're doing it. I'm doing it. Oh my God. It was this huge fireworks just went off in my head, right?
Right. Right.
And you were killing it. Like you sent me, I mean, I didn't make that many songs, maybe 20 songs at most. And you sent me your Suno, so I start following you, and I listened to every single song over, and I felt like a creeper, like. It was so funny, but I mean, your storytelling, the way you did it, the sound that you used, I'm embarrassed to say, but not that much, because obviously I wouldn't say it if I was that embarrassed. Your music and the words and how you did it, especially the sound, I use it for like my dates. Like it's my background music.
I love
I love it so
it.
much.
Yeah, and so like for me, it's like if I can help one person not feel the way I felt or not feel that way for as long as I felt that way, right? Because I'm gonna be 40 in August and I'm still in real time learning, right? I'm not perfect and I think my writing. I've always kind of wrote poems that came from an instructor we had, a teacher we had. I won't say his name, but he was pretty cool, very odd, but he kind of inspired something in me to write, right? And like because his were not very good, to be honest. I was like, I can do better than that. Like, and I know that's selfish and that's like whatever, elitist, whatever you want to call me, but I was just like, damn, if he's proud of that, like let me show you what I can do, right? And then so I was like writing poems like left and right. Like I was just needing to process things last summer. Like I was separated from my husband and things were just not good. Like not good at all. And so I found that app and that I could have someone sing
Mhm.
my songs. And so for me to hear it, because I knew I didn't have the confidence to sing it myself, so to have someone sing it, then it just like was flowing out of my body. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because I needed to release that because I've not talked about a lot of that to anybody. I anybody that knows me knows that I'm pretty much a closed vault unless we're close.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell you everything and like word vomit all over you. But other than that, I keep my secrets protected, right? I
Yeah.
keep my cards close to my chest. So yeah, Suno brought us together, and I think that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. I used to, I think you knew, but you might have forgotten. Um, so when my mom passed away, I started writing letters, and I wrote to God and mom. And I would just, Dad is so mean, and Dad did this. And, because I was 11, and I literally still have every single letter. And I have continued that. My sister died. Now it's, Dad, Mom, and Chris is my sister's name, Christina. Um, and it would just be like this whole thing. And eventually I was married, and my ex would do this, or my boyfriend would do this, or whatever. Like, and Dad was mean to me. I just thought those are the funniest ones when my dad's mean to me. Um, and I was scared to share them. But at the same time, I started to share them with my first ex-husband because didn't feel like I could explain well enough what I needed in my life from him. And so by doing the letter, I was hoping that that would help. But the letter
Hmm.
was still to my sister and stuff. It didn't help. I thought it
Yeah.
would, but it didn't. So this one's
Yeah.
definitely scary to do and definitely to share. And it's very vulnerable to share your songs that you make.
Sure.
Um, but I did it, and it feels amazing. And for me, like you said, you don't want someone to go through what you went through, but for me, I want everyone to know what you're going through is a norm. What you're going
Yeah.
through, you're not the only one. And
Right.
so that's what I'm loving about it. And if I forget, because that's what happens in a narcissistic relationship, was that real? Did that really happen? Oh, I'm making this way too big. So I started making the songs to remind myself, no, that did happen.
Yeah.
And they if I start getting taken back, like maybe my ex will call me and I'm like, oh my gosh, well, maybe it wasn't that bad. I go listen to my song and I'm like, oh, that's right. So for
Right.
me, it's my memory.
Yeah.
It's really helped.
Yeah. No, I love that. I think above all else it's therapeutic, right, for us, and I think
Mhm.
that's what matters the most. But yeah, I thought that was important for us to share. And before we got started, and we're all about transparency and trying to
Yes.
just be raw and honest, and not have any skeletons in our closet or anything like that. So we want to be raw and honest about our past as well and our relationship. um but we're going to get more into this episode, and really, again, we tried being nice and it went well for everybody else but not us,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So, when did you realize you were losing yourself?
Um, I wrote some notes because this was a hard one for me because it took me a little bit to recognize it, and it had been going on for so long. I started creating a situation where I felt like if I was low maintenance, if I was easier to deal with, then
Yeah.
maybe people would like me or be nicer or whatever the case is, right? Um, so when my mom passed, I didn't know what understand what it was. I kind of understand now, but I was the biggest bitch, only to more so my dad. Like, not I wasn't mean to him because I don't want to get hit, right? I don't want to get backhanded,
Right.
but I would see you, spend time with you, and then literally just turn and look at my dad, and my face, my body would just get hot of anger. I had nothing but anger in me. And one day he told me, he's like, it takes more energy to be angry than it is to be happy. It took me about 6 years later to fully understand that concept. And then that's when my life shifted. Um, but from there, I started being my own person. I started just standing off and just being me and figuring out who I am and being okay with that and not apologizing. But then my family would make little comments. Like, I was dating my high school sweetheart. You remember him? Um, and it was graduation, and they took him to go get food and left me at the party. And apparently, when they were gone, they said, "Why are you with my sister? She's a bitch. Like, why would you even want to be with her? You don't want to do that. You really should just break up." My brothers are not younger than me. My brothers are 6 years older than me, and then the other one, I don't know, he's like 10 or 9 or something like that. They
It's
should be more
hurtful.
mature. Yeah, it was to know that their opinion of me is so low and so hurtful enough to say that to someone that I've been dating for almost 2 years. And
Right.
it didn't stop there. It didn't stop when I took over the business. Pretty similar situation. You can't do this. Like, you're not a business owner. Like just things like that. It's pretty hurtful. And so when I hear things like that, I find out things like that, I should say, I recognize that, okay, I'm shutting myself down to make others feel comfortable. And that's not
Mhm.
okay. And then, of course, I have to recover from those comments and stuff. Um, I want to say this because it made such a big deal to me. There is a podcast that my brother kept telling me, David, to listen to for probably a year, and I didn't do it. And it was actually Mother's Day that I finally listened to it. I'm vacuuming the house. I'm taking the kids to go get shoes at the outlet mall. Nothing for myself. And all I wanted to do for Mother's Day was maybe go for a run with my friend. And I got criticized. And okay, well, I won't go. So I take care of the kids and I take them to the outlet mall and I get them stuff. And I cleaning the house and I listen to this podcast finally. And it's called Elevation Church. And the whole thing was that God is your mirror, not that person. So my ex is just wailing on me, yelling at me, giving me crap for me wanting to go for a run and do something for myself. And finally, I literally just stopped him. I remember this so well. I stopped him in his tracks and I said, I'm going to stop you right there. I learned something today and it's important to me. You are not my mirror. God is. So you're not going to speak to me like this anymore. You're not going to tell me no because I'm not necessarily asking if I can go for a run. I'm simply allowing you to be a part of my life. And you are not my mirror. God did not make a mistake. I am perfect with who I am and how I am. Not room to grow, but through God's eyes, not through anyone else's. And that was such a pivotal
Right.
moment for me. Oh my gosh. I will never forget that. That was so amazing. That was probably 6 or 7 years ago. And I feel like that's truly when my growth started and separating that I can still be me and be in a relationship or still be me and still be mom. I still lost that a little bit along the way, but I'm getting it back. But that was huge. So huge. About 6 years ago.
Awesome. That's good though. And I think that's awesome that you can like kind of pinpoint a time. I wish I could. Mine is a little bit more gradual, right? And I think mine comes from a lot of I mean my dad didn't want me. Like I don't know how else to say it. Like he didn't like he told me when he was divorcing my mom that all of the bad things, right, about her. I was 12 at the time, and um, he basically was telling me like he knew 3 years into the marriage that he didn't want to be with her anymore. Obviously I was not conceived at that time, things like that, right? And how he was just trying to stick it out and make sure that the kids graduated high school and stuff like this. So I'm a child listening to this, right? So I a should not be hearing this about my
No.
mother, but b the words that came out of his mouth, like I still to this day can't imagine it coming out of my mouth to my children. But he says, "Man, you remind me just of her," and I can't help but like feel like that tells me everything, right? Like it doesn't matter if you check in, if you text me a phone call, if you text me whatever, like you minimized me that day.
Mm-hmm.
And so like of course I was searching for affection. Of course I
Right.
was, you know what I mean? Of course I was saying yes to anybody that would throw their attention my way. And I was accepting breadcrumbs
Right.
for what I thought was love, right? Because I
Yeah.
had I had nothing to compare it to. And all that I got at home was no, right? It was no, you shouldn't do this, no, you shouldn't do that, man, you could have done this better, no, you could have done this better.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't come through with obligations. And that's not me knocking him. I'm just being real about how it was. And it was constant letdown because he didn't come through. And so to grow up to not be able to depend on your dad
Right.
is disheartening, because he's there physically and he's a freaking cop. You know what I mean? Like other people literally fucking call him
I
for
forgot about
emergencies.
that. Yeah.
And I can't call him in an emergency because he doesn't like me because I look like my
Right.
mom and I act like my mom.
The symbolism behind that is huge.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, you played it
So
well. You played it
I
really
did, and
well.
I was confident, and I tried to be like tough-skinned and all that. Meanwhile, I was just fucking crumbling. And
Mhm.
I've been that way. I've compromised my entire life for people that wouldn't look twice if I was crossing the street.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part about it. But you know what? Like, I honestly don't regret that part,
Right.
because it shows who I am as a person, and it
Right.
shows my capability to love. It shows the magnitude of my heart, and it shows all of the things about who I am as a person. I think that we need to be very, very self-critical about our own mistakes, and accountable about the choices we make. I know that the choices I made have landed me exactly where I'm at. So let's not get that twisted. This is nobody's fault but my own. But I lost myself because I didn't have structure at home. I didn't
Right.
have an example to compare it to. So when I'm searching for love, I'm accepting mediocrity.
Yeah. We thought, but that was a norm though. We didn't know that that's what it was. This is a
Right.
normal life. This is how it should be. Unfortunately, is what we thought.
Yeah. And some of the ways I think that that looks like, when we're talking about that, is trying to keep peace at your own expense.
Yeah.
Right. So many times I could give you a plethora of examples, and I know you could do the same, that we swallow, and I use that word a lot. We swallow our own desires to make
Hmm.
someone else comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
done.
I love that you said that I got myself here. Like, we don't need to be knocking anybody. It is what it is. The past is the past. We are simply growing from it. To
Yeah.
hold on to any anger or frustration from somebody, it doesn't do us any good. And the songs have kind of helped me do that as well. But I recognize later in life that my siblings' opinion mattered so much, because if they didn't find me valuable and they're telling my my boyfriend this at the time, that means that I'm not valuable to them and I'm supposed to be valuable. That's your family. You know what I'm saying? It's so, so hurtful. So like I wanted to go into the army. I wanted to become a cop, an FBI agent. I wanted to like really do all these things. And all I heard, I wanted to go to UNM to go to college. I wanted to do those things. And no, you're not going. Like that's not for you. You don't know. I don't know if you could do it. And it's cost money and whatever, whatever. And so it made me feel like, okay, well, I better make myself smaller. I better make myself nicer and better, because maybe my siblings will like me, and my siblings like me, then you know what I mean? And they did, they love me. But to hear that, that's not what's happening there.
Right.
So that's when I started making myself smaller and asking, like, am I smiling too much? Am I laughing too much? Am I doing this too much? When before I didn't question that. I could care less. You remember me. I was like in La La Land 24/7. Everything was awesome. And then from there, it just kind of put myself down a little bit.
When I think that's an important note. Words matter,
Hmm.
right? Words matter. And I'm terrible at keeping connections. So like everybody knows me, I'm super ADHD, and like if you text me, I will text you immediately back, but I'm just terrible at like starting communication. But I love my siblings. I love my siblings so much. Like my siblings have got me through very difficult times. Like my sister had had to be the mom in many ways, you know what I mean?
But
Because I love my mom to death, and our relationship has changed drastically since my brother passed. But anybody that knew us when I was younger, we were inseparable, and we were the best of friends. And it's not so much that anymore, because she's a shell of who she was, simply because I think she's kind of given up. Depression is real.
yeah.
But my sister upheld a lot of that. I remember, before my parents even told me they were getting a divorce, my sister pulled me aside and said, "Hey, things have changed this summer while you were away I was away at my grandparents that summer." And she
Well,
said, "Things have kind of changed, and I just want you to be aware." And like, she gave me a heads up, but I didn't expect for my dad to tell me the day before my 12th birthday. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, you that's what he told you?
yeah, like he couldn't even wait
Dang.
like till I turned 12. Like, Yeah.
He couldn't wait to get it out.
Yeah. And I get it. Like you're with someone new and you want to get out of the relationship you're in and things like that. And as an adult now, I realize it, like that he was just simply miserable, and I get it. But like those
As
are
an
just
adult,
things
you
that
get
are
it though. As a kid, that's
right.
not what you're hearing and seeing. There's a big difference.
No, not at all. Not at all. Um and so I think that that was a lot of the self abandonment, right? Because
Hmm.
I felt abandoned by my parent.
Right.
So yeah, I think that that's where that was. And so that took a lot of internal, healing and realizing that, my dad's not a bad person. He's a broken individual himself, and he was probably carrying things that were weighing on him at the time and that I just couldn't understand as a child. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
I don't know what it's like to walk through his shoes and see the things that he's seen in his career. And I can't imagine being a man, and trying to provide for a family and things like that. So I get
Right.
that part
Yeah. Now, yeah,
now.
same thing for
I
me.
did
Like
before.
people would tell me like, "Oh man, your dad's mean. Like your dad didn't do this, I do that." Now that I'm older, I've got kids. I'm like, you know what? Kudos to my dad, actually.
Yeah,
Round of
yeah,
applause for my dad because he went from the guy you just go to he tells you no. He's not a part of the decision making. He's not part of anything, really. He's just the dad. It's the stereotypical Mexican culture. And then when my mom passed, he had to be the parent to five kids, you
Mr.
know?
Mom. Yeah,
Yeah. And granted, the other ones were a little older, but they were still in a position where they needed the parent and they just
yeah.
lost their parents. So they needed him. And so now thinking back, I'm like, I'm making mistakes as a parent all the time. You can read all the books you want. I'm making mistakes. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm figuring it out as I go. In fact, I told Sammy and Jasper once Sammy and Jasper turned 12, I said, guys, I'm winging it from here. The most parenting I had was when I was 11 and my mom passed. So I'm so sorry what happens from here forward, but I don't know what I'm doing. And
There is
so
no
again, that's
template,
why I pause.
you know?
No, there's not. And then they change so much and their personality is so different. So I feel for my dad now, and I definitely give him a lot more grace. And I hope my kids do the same for me. But
Right.
one of the things
Pay
is
the extra tuition at the nursing home, like give me the good seat, like all the things, right?
yeah, put the little extra in there. But accepting bare minimum effort because we didn't know what bare minimum meant, or we didn't know what a higher amount of affection or love or attention or anything or effort. We didn't know what that was because ours was way the heck down here for whatever reason, right? We have our reasons, but regardless, we didn't know.
Being nice got us used.
Yes. But we thought being nice was how you create relationships and how you create a strong marriage, um, how you create kids and everything like that, and a good relationship, and even for parenting, like that's not true. Being nice does not create a good kid.
No, and what it gets you is controlling partners. You accept mediocrity. You have
Hmm.
poor relationships. You have low self confidence because you are not speaking up for your desires and
Hmm.
all the things, right? So we can't be giving endless chances to people. But we do have to make our needs known. And I think that that was
Oh
one
yeah.
of the biggest things that I learned was that I'm not being needy. I'm not being high maintenance. I'm not being anything other than I'm being communicative.
Yep. Yeah, that gets misconstrued a lot too. I used to be told like, well, quit explaining everything to me. Well, I kind of have to if you want to know where I'm coming from. I like being a teacher. Let me start there. So I could see how it can be a little annoying. I'm like, let's write an essay on what I just said or
But like
something.
context, like I'm like, if I'm explaining a medical situation to you, like you need context.
Right.
Something like, and people are like, when they want cut and dry, I'm like, okay, to a point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. What
Oh
about
man.
being emotionally available for unavailable people?
I think it's hard for me to recognize when they are unavailable because this is gonna not be the best analogy, but there's like a dog walking with their owners, and I'm like checking out the dog. You're my friend. I like you. You don't know it, but we're best friends. And I'm not talking to the human. I'm talking to the dog. So
Oh yeah, for
I do
sure.
the same thing to people sometimes, especially kids that I don't even know that I'm like, we're like best friends and you don't even know it. So unfortunately, that's like my personality. I'm such an empath. I have actually hugged a person that was having a hard time. And this has happened only one time, thank God, because it hurt. And when I let go, I literally felt pins and needles all over my body. I literally took their pain and it hurt me so much. It was really disheartening. But they felt better and I was
Yeah.
willing to take it. But that's one of the hardest parts about me. I take it.
It really is difficult. And I absorb people's, we were talking about this, I absorb people's energy. And everybody like, and God, this is going to sound so terrible and so judgmental, but like the negative Nancy's love me. And it's because I absorb their negativity where I'm
Yeah.
exhausted
Yeah.
afterwards. And they're like, I'm free as a bird because I just unloaded on you. And I'm like, I need to
Hmm.
start charging for this. You know what I mean? Like,
I hear you.
but it's saying yes when you wanted to say no, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I have, and I
Feeling
want
guilty for having
friends.
boundaries.
That what?
Feeling guilty for having boundaries.
Yeah, I haven't quite felt the guilt yet because I'm still learning that boundaries exist and they're okay. Honest to God, like I use the marriage a little bit as an excuse to do this. Like, oh, I'm so busy, which I was, but I stopped hanging out with friends. Like, if you ended up living here, I still think that we would have seen and talked to each other the same. Like, it was so much energy from everybody else, and then working and talking to customers and stuff takes a lot out of me. So I would just go home. I barely had enough energy for the kids. And so unfortunately, that's kind of where it put me. So the boundaries I'm just now figuring out so that I can start filling my cup. I don't even know how to fill my cup. That's a good example right there. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. And I think that's important. I'm still learning too, so I don't know it all, but probably a little further in the boundaries game, but I'm now it's like successful implementation of the boundaries.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like there's no guidebook, there's no anything, and it's like how do you not come off total raging lunatic, you know?
That's
When
my
you're just
strong
trying, it's
point.
like, yo, I just want my peace, right? Like I just want to be peaceful. And
Yeah.
yeah, so and I think for me, and I think this is kind of like that last part here is that the moment when we stop shrinking, and I think we're in it right now,
Yes.
right? Yeah, so like I can't say that I'm like there, but I think we're like in it, starting to say no without guilt. um
Yeah.
that was a hard one. Not explaining yourself anymore, choosing peace over approval. Hallelujah. Losing people when you started respecting yourself, and becoming too much after years of accepting too little. I love that I'm too much. I love that. Call me bougie, call me extra, whatever you want, baby. I am me.
You've always
I love it.
inspired me to be like that. Like, I remember you had your hair real, real short, and I'm like, I'm gonna do that too, and I'm gonna spike it up and be super cool because I was so
I
afraid
used to
to
cut it
stand
myself
out.
because I couldn't afford a stylist. Remember that? I think I even cut
Yes.
yours one time. I was like, oh, I hope I did it okay. I don't know what
I
I'm
think
doing,
you
but we're
did.
trying. Yeah.
Yes, but unfortunately, you were my outlet, right? To break out of my little box, my little shell a little bit. So it's really nice, even though we're so far away, that we're able to feed off each other in a positive way and a better understanding and recognize those things because I feel like we
Yeah.
both needed it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. So we're gonna get to the last part here because they're going to kick us off soon. But red flags we romanticize. So I think they
Oh
text
yeah.
back 3 business days later, but they're just busy.
Yeah. I had this guy, I blocked him because he was sending me stupid things. And then I unblocked him a couple days later and he's like, "Hey, what happened? You ghosted me." And I said, "Bless your heart, I didn't ghost you. I just didn't appreciate the way you were talking to me."
Right.
No, that was it.
It's called
I,
self-respect.
Yeah,
right?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So I'm now
Right.
those red flags. I'm like, why? I did that too. This guy was talking to me, and I just accepted all the red flags. And I literally was in my head like, what are you doing? He's literally telling you who you are or who he is, and you're accepting it. How can you get mad for it later? Walk
Yeah.
away.
No. And so, and like, I feel like I'm almost like, now I'm like, I hear one, I'm like, nope, up, walk out. And I'm like, I shouldn't be that rigid. Like, I need to at least finish the date or something. You know what I mean? But no, like,
I can
I
see you doing that,
think
man.
I am so bad because, like, I'm just so transparent, right? Like, my face says everything I'm thinking. It's terrible. So yeah. Um, Outgrowing people hurts, but shrinking yourself hurts longer. I think is what we've learned, right? You're not hard to love for wanting honesty, effort, consistency, and respect.
That's true. And I hate to bring this up because I'm trying not to, but I am seeing somebody. I said that last time. And whether this works out or not is hardly the point. But I'm understanding that and understanding a little bit more of, oh, I don't have to shrink myself. I'm allowed to be silly and loud and sharp, and that's okay. I can just be me.
Well, I think it's important to talk about that because we do all have to move on at some point, right? We do have to not stay alone, right? This world
Mhm.
is meant to be experienced with others.
Yeah,
And so um it's not that you're trying to jump into something too quick. You're just trying, if the opportunity arises and there's someone
right,
great, why scoff at that opportunity? So I think that
right.
being cautiously optimistic is the wise thing to do. I think you're doing a great job at being cautiously optimistic. I don't think you have to defend the choice that you're seeing somebody. I don't think
Right.
I don't think we're not
See, I still
apologizing
do
for who
it.
we are.
I'm working on it, but I'm still doing it. We're
Yeah,
all growing all the time.
yeah, no, and I think we're done though. Yeah, we're not apologizing for who we
Mm-mm.
are. We're human beings. We're here to find love and affection, and that's our mission in life. And we're mothers, so we're made of that. And so we ooze that, and we want to give that to someone.
I love it. Well, this has been amazing. I hope someone gets a lot out of this because it does mean a lot to me and you. And everything we say matters because we've done it, we've heard it, and others aren't saying it enough.
Yeah. Yeah, but they're thinking it and they're feeling it and they're pushing it deep down and they're having anxiety about it and they're going to their doctor and they're saying, "Look, I can't sleep at night. I'm not being able
Mhm.
to breathe. I don't know what's going on." That's what's going on.
Right,
You're not talking about it.
right, right. You're not the only one because that's when the scariest time is to talk about it when you feel that much alone, like you're
Yeah.
making it up in your head.
And like these scenarios don't have to fit you 100% for it to validate what you're feeling. If
Right.
it resonated with you, it resonated with you. You're not
Mm-hmm.
crazy. You're not, stop shrinking your thoughts.
Yep. Yep. So write in those comments.
Well,
Let us know.
yeah, write in those comments, let us know, and we will see you next week.
Yeah. Have a good
All
one.
right. All right. Bye.